In the dimly lit room, I was dressed in a sailor suit in front of my husband, charming and enchanting. My husband, who had not seen me for a long time, immediately stripped himself naked and pounced towards me. "Hubby, are you a cow, so reckless?" And at this moment, not far from the corner, a pair of eyes are looking straight at all this. "My name is Tao Zi, 3 years ago to Zhou when I renewed the string, and Zhou Kai is my stepson. Tonight I was just about to lie down when I heard a strange sound coming from next door, and seeing that the sound was getting louder and louder, I pushed the door and walked out. Through the doorway, I saw Zhou Kai wearing a very alluring costume, almost revealing his muscles all over his body in front of the video, very seductive to satisfy himself. A sense of shame surged to my heart. At that moment I turned around and wanted to leave, but my feet could not drag it. Inside the sound of high and low, I tried to restrain the inner turmoil, forced to drag his body to run back to the room. Just then, the painting hanging on the wall fell off, and in shock I saw a hole the size of a coin in the back of the painting. At that moment, I put down my skirt and moved forward to get up, and at that moment, Zhou Kai's every move in the room was once again clearly seen by me. I couldn't help but gulp as I tried to keep my sanity. But Zhou Kai seemed to be aware that I was peeking, as he suddenly turned his body directly towards the wall. After a surge, there seemed to be no sound from the opposite side either. Through the small hole in front of me, I saw that the room was restored as usual, while at this moment, Zhou Kai did not know where he had gone. At that moment my heart tightened. After looking around in vain, I hurriedly got up and prepared to hang up the fallen painting. And just at that moment, a knock came from outside the door. "Are you asleep, little mom?" Zhou Kai's voice came from the doorway. Hearing his voice, my heart became more and more a little nervous. Why did he suddenly come to me so late at night? Could it be that he found out? Seeing that Zhou Kai outside the door was constantly urging towards me, I had to open the door with my head. Pai's mind kept floating in my mind the image of him just now going crazy in the room, and for a while there was an inexplicable excitement inside me. I tried to restrain my emotions, turning my head aside and said, "What's wrong? Kai, what do you want to see me about this late at night?" "Little mom, did you still have fun watching just now?" Zhou Kai said and walked straight in. I didn't expect him to actually open the question so bluntly. Remembering the blush-inducing scene just now, I couldn't help but be a bit stumped as to how to respond. "Little mom, don't pretend. I took advantage of you going grocery shopping today to install a camera in this hole, and I'm not afraid to tell you that I intentionally left this hole for you." "What?" I said, taking a step backward. In fact, I know that in Zhou Kai's heart has always disowned me as his mom, who is 5 years older than him, because in his heart all I see is his family's money, but I don't understand why he would do this. Is it just for fun? Zhou Kai kept moving closer towards me. "Little mom, I recorded your peeping performance in HD just now. Do you want to enjoy it?" This sentence made me freeze in place, and immediately denied towards him. "What nonsense are you talking about? What hole, what peeping? I don't understand at all. You get out of here, I'm going to sleep." Between words, I pulled him to push him out, but I didn't expect to be pinched by his backhand, and then pressed me against the wall. Looking up, Zhou Kai gave me a weird smile. "Little mom, you still don't admit it after all this? Then don't blame me for sending it to my dad. In a while, if he sees it, do you think he'll still be with you?" Thinking back, 3 years ago, because of that cocktail party, because of my pretty face and body, proud of a glance by Zhou Wentai, in his sugar-coated, and a throw of money under the bird in his cage became the bird. I know he cares about Zhou Kai, and in order to sit firmly in the position of Mrs. Zhou, I do not hesitate to quit my job to make every effort to take care of his son. I cannot let their efforts for so many years in vain, more likely to just give up. Thinking of this, I gritted my teeth and looked up towards him. "Say it, what do you want in the end?" Seeing me compromise, no longer struggle, Zhou Kai will release me, and then seemingly smiling non-smile, "This video thing I do not disclose, can, but you have to promise me one thing." Promised we in front of my father or mother's love and filial piety. "What is it?" I had to follow his words and ask. Zhou Kai sniffed at me with a smile in his eyes. "We come to an agreement, can each other through this hole to see everything that happens in their respective rooms. Singular belongs to me, double belongs to you. 3 months after the video I will destroy how." This request is simply unbelievable to me, but in the way of his hands have me those videos. In order to protect my Mrs. Zhou's status, I can only reluctantly agree. After seeing Zhou Kai left, I had trouble sleeping the whole night, almost early in the morning when I curiosity, quietly lying on the hole towards that side to see. But just close, I saw a pair of black pupils toward my direction. I immediately lay down, and immediately afterward the images of Zhou Kai peeking at me began to appear frequently in my mind, and as the images overlapped, those strange emotions flooded into my mind like a tidal wave. Just like this I fell asleep without realizing it. The next day I woke up in a beam of blinding sunlight. I looked at the ceiling, and all of last night's events were mind-boggling to me. Immediately after that I was ready to get up and change my clothes, but just as I stripped myself naked and was about to put on my skirt, I suddenly felt someone peeping from a hole not far away. Then I froze violently. Today is Wednesday. Last night Zhou Kai said that the singular belongs to him. I ghostly began to slow down the speed of changing clothes, but also deliberately stroked half of my snowy white body against the wall, displaying my proud figure to the best of my ability in front of that wall. After getting dressed, I tried to maintain my inner peace to make breakfast for Zhou Kai, as if all that had not happened. Immediately after that Zhou Kai walked out from his room. He didn't say much to me, picked up his breakfast and walked out of the house. Seeing Zhou Kai left, I also cleaned up a little ready to go out to buy food, and on the way back I received a call from Zhou Wentai. He said in order to sympathize with my hard work he let the driver to send me a surprise talk to arrive. Immediately I hung up the phone and rushed towards home. As soon as I entered the door, I saw Zhou Wentai standing at the door of the home with flowers, full of smiles, and opened his arms towards me. "Wife, hard work, I came back early just to give you a surprise," Zhou Wentai said as he approached me and swept me into his arms. Although he already has 40+ years of age, but the body is very robust, that all the tendon meat really does not lose those young boys, especially in that area is really treasure. Knife has not aged. I was wrapped around the waist, at this time like a little bird, like snuggling in his arms. Zhou Wentai will pick me up, and then unspoken will be hugged back to the bedroom. But when pulling off the last piece of clothing underneath me, my eyes suddenly stopped on that small hole on the wall. Suddenly thinking of the scene in the morning, the sound of the door opening just now should be Zhou Kai, then at this moment he must be watching all this from the hole. Zhou Wentai noticed the change in my mood. He thought it was because I was too tired, so he tenderly kissed me on my forehead. "Wife, is it because you're too worried about me being away during this time? Why don't we do it some other time?" he said with a hint of loss flashing through his eyes. At that moment, I grabbed his hand and put it on my collar and said, "Husband, no, I just want to give you a surprise too. Wait for me, I'll go make a preparation." Between words, I reached up and lifted his chin to give him a flirty smile, then slowly exited the room. After thinking about it left and right I decided to go find Zhou Kai, although I found it exciting to be spied on like that, but after all, doing it in front of someone was just too hard for me to let go completely. So seeing that there was still a gap in Zhou Kai's room, I gently pushed my way in. "Zhou Kai, I know you have a problem with me, but can you give it to me tonight? Your dad, he rarely comes back," I said, lowering my voice. Hearing this, Zhou Kai walked a little bit closer towards me, then said with a face full of disdain, "You want to break the contract? You don't want to play this game with me anymore? Then you know what will happen next." As he spoke, the color in his pupils made me tremble a little, and right after that, he threw a bunch of clothes at me, gesturing that I would wear them to make out with Zhou Wentai in a while. I immediately glared at him somewhat angrily, wanting to throw the clothes out, but I was pushed directly out of the room by him, and then he made a wink at me. Seeing Zhou Kai's commanding gesture, for a moment I felt filled with anger, but thinking that I had those handles in his hands, I had to bite my teeth and continue to play this game with him. Just as I was floating around, Zhou Wentai's voice sounded outside the door. "Wife, are you still not well?" While saying that, a few crisp footsteps came from outside the door. I immediately came back to my senses, then took a deep breath and pulled open the bathroom door. Seeing Zhou Wentai, I pulled him into the room. I thought that in the beginning, he had also taken an immediate liking to my beautiful skin, and after getting together, he had even possessed me extremely well night after night. Only in the last year his work has become very busy. We often get together less away from each other, looking at his still vigorous face. I don't know exactly how long Zhou Kai has been watching and to what extent, but with the current situation where Zhou Wentai and I are intertwined, he should have watched everything that should be watched. This made it difficult for me to sleep throughout the night, and although I also enjoyed the excitement that came from being peeked at, the thought of those images of me entangled with his father being visible under his eyes made my insides twist. After staying up all night, I decided to go find Zhou Kai to have a good talk. As soon as Zhou and I left the next day, I rushed into Zhou Kai's room without saying a word, frowning at him. I'm not going to continue with this engagement with you. If you want to play, find someone else to play with. As for the video, I don't care at all. The big deal is that you're going to send it to your dad right now, and in the meantime, tell him about the good things you did last night. What's with the temper? Zhou Kai said while smiling playfully at me. I see you had a good time with that old man last night. How was his stamina? Did he satisfy you? You're too much, I said, and gave him a vicious look before returning to my room and locking the door directly behind me. Perhaps this time Zhou Kai also realized that I was really a bit angry, so he didn't catch up and engage in another theory with me. I leaned against the door of the room and slowly sat down, and then quietly listened to the movements outside the door. At this moment, my heart is incomparably confused. I on the one hand very resistant to this kind of ridiculous game agreement, on the other hand very greedy, enjoy the excitement of being peeked at. Just as I was panicking inside, I heard a heavy slamming of the door, followed by a dead silence returning around me. Zhou Kai is gone? Then I can have some peace and quiet now. But I soon regretted my thought. Zhou Kai did not intend to end the game, but went out to add to it. Toward evening, some male and female laughter appeared outside the house, and I guessed that Zhou Kai must have brought his classmates back. Just as I was about to walk out of the room to greet them, a message popped up on my phone. Don't be angry, the big deal is that I'll let you see it back, just as compensation for you. I frowned and was about to reply when a strange noise came from next door, but I couldn't hear what was happening at all through a wall. After all, Zhou Kai is my stepson. If something really happened in the house, when the time comes, I certainly cannot escape responsibility. So under the inner struggle, I lifted the hole, lying on the wall looking toward the opposite side. Only to see this moment Zhou Kai took off his shirt, casually handed the girl a candy, and then the two embraced each other. Just when I thought it was just the usual couple's entangled behavior, the girl seemed a bit off. She was like a soulless shell letting Zhou Kai manipulate her back and forth. This scene made my heart flutter. If I let him go on like this really directly on the girl's body, in case if something happens, how to do? No, I cannot let Zhou Kai in the home to do this kind of thing. So I thought about opening the door and rushed over. At first the door was locked. I desperately knocked on the door. What are you doing? Do you know it's rude to knock like that? Zhou Kai said, opening the door. When I saw this, I pushed him out of the way and walked straight to the girl's body to untie her rope on one side and super Zhou Kai, what the hell do you want? Are you crazy? How can you do this to another girl at home? You don't mind your own business. I said, this is me making it up to you. Zhou Kai said and perked up. My whole body froze at that time, so the compensation he said was to show me this. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but panic. The girl on the side seemed to be slowly regaining her senses. I carefully dressed her. Girl, you guys have had too much fun today. I'll arrange for someone to take you home in a while, I said, and helped her up. Zhou Kai, however, blocked in front with a reluctant face. She's my person, besides the good part has just begun. Where are you taking her? Do you believe me when I tell your father that you're simply running amok? I said, coldly watching him walk the girl out the door. When he came back, Zhou Kai suddenly hugged me from behind. Can you stop being angry and ignore me? I thought you didn't care about me anymore. That's why you arranged this. Just to get my attention? I said and sighed. Zhou Kai, are you still a child? Actually, you've been watching all along, right? Not just now, but actually every day you've been sneaking glances just like me. Zhou Kai said and laughed easily. I know what you want. As long as you continue to honor your agreement, I will definitely destroy those videos. Just don't break in again without listening. Faced with Zhou Kai's temperamental behavior, I guessed in my heart that there must be a hidden agenda in all of this, and most likely Zhou Kai is not Zhou Kai, or maybe he is really having psychological problems. But again, I didn't want to anger him at this moment, so I had to nod my head by default. In order to be able to protect myself and still be able to sit tight as Mrs. Zhou, I decided to find out what was wrong with Zhou Kai, so the next day I came to my friend's detective agency early in the morning. Immediately after that, I commissioned him to find a private detective to help me investigate all of Zhou Kai's experiences before he became an adult, especially all the suspicious things that happened while his mom was still alive. Sure enough, through the investigation, Zhou Kai's birth mother and the world on the often take advantage of Zhou Wentai and different men in the home to fool around. Several times she thought that Zhou Kai do not understand the small, actually unapologetic. And those men's age are not small, almost and more than 10 years ago are Zhou Wentai's age, and his birth mother actually so similar to me. No wonder at first Zhou Wentai took a glance at me, probably from the beginning he knew that his son was sick, so he hoped to find a pre-substitute. Also because of this adult Zhou Kai's character is even more bizarre, he must have taken me as his birth mother, he enjoys helmet me, is an unspeakable psychological distortion. After figuring out everything, I wanted to tell Zhou Wentai everything, but I didn't expect that when I was ready to open my mouth, Zhou Wentai's expression changed, and he took out the handkerchief in his pocket and reached out to cover my mouth. "Oh, husband," I said, struggling desperately. Gradually I felt dizzy and fainted in a few seconds. When I woke up, I found myself wearing a light gauze skirt, the whole person was tied up 5 times on a chair, at the moment facing the whole of the room. "What are you doing, Zhou Wentai? Are you crazy? You know your son," I said desperately, trying to break free from the ropes on my body. Zhou Wentai took off his own jacket toward me. "I know, but Taozi, Kai is my son, I cannot watch him become crazy," the doctor said. "As long as this way to meet his psychological needs, then everything will be fine." This is all arranged by you, how can you do this to me?" I said at once, my heart seized raw pain. Speaking, Zhou Wentai picked up my chin. "What's wrong? In the beginning you are not just fancy my money. Now but just for my son's disease let you cooperate, you say if you obey, I to like this to you tied up. If you are obedient, I guarantee that you will still be Mrs. Zhou after Kai gets well, and I will also give you a sum of money." The more he said, Zhou Wentai's emotions became a bit agitated, and at that moment I heard Zhou Kai's urging voice. Seeing this, Zhou Wentai smiled at me, then took out a snake-like object and walked towards me. Don't, I yelled and struggled frantically. Just as Zhou Wentai leaned closer and closer to me, the door was broken right through from the outside, followed by a burst of noise. The Zhou family father and son were arrested directly, and I was saved. It turns out that both father and son have a serious mental illness, although Zhou Wentai is the richest man, but the perennial mental stress, and even Zhou Kai are deeply affected, so began to appear his ex-wife stealing images. The young Zhou Kai because in Zhou Wentai daily indoctrination on the images of his mother and other men together, as he grows up to split the situation more serious. But at this time Zhou Wentai's age is getting older, need Zhou Kai to inherit the family business. In order to help Zhou Kai to solve the mental illness, he tried a lot of methods, but also found similar to a lot of girls like me to stimulate Zhou Kai in the same way. But those girls are not so lucky compared to me, all died in the last link. In the end, the scandal of the Zhou family came to light, and Zhou's father and son went into a mental hospital, while I inherited all of his property, which is also considered to be a conclusion to this nightmare.